Hi, it's love to be loved, and it's always love to be loved. And I want to talk to you guys about Donald Trump and why not only should you not vote for him, but why he should be disqualified. In my opinion, why he should be disqualified to be president. Okay, let's get right into the easy stuff. The things that people always like to talk about is that he says mean and hateful things. Now, here's the thing. Most, if not all, presidents have said mean and hateful things. They were a lot more elegant about it, a lot more diplomatic about it, whether it was directly or indirectly. It's just that Donald Trump has set a precedent of probably the first one to insult people and insult groups of people, and races and nations and religions, in a way that no one should, at least no decent human being should, and definitely no one that is running for president should. But that's not an automatic disqualifier. That's just an inappropriate way of handling business. Then, of course, there are some concerns about him being a racist. Now, whether or not he is a full-on KKK type racist or just an ignorant bigot type racist, and how important that is and how relevant that is to his job, that is something that has already been covered by several people, and that to me, no matter what kind of racist you are, you're racist, and that can and usually does affect how you make decisions and your perspective on life, and that can reflect upon to what my opinion would be, can be harmful towards the United States, and can also affect our foreign policy and who trust us, and there's a bunch of other factors that racism has no place in the presidency of not being able to change is he can't take advice. Okay, he can't take advice, because, as you well know, no matter how well educated someone is, no matter how much experience someone has, he usually won't take advice, and if he does, he usually reverts back to his old ways of doing things, and he usually thinks he's smarter than everyone else. He usually thinks his ideas are perfect or near perfect, and that they shouldn't change in any way. So that's a very dangerous way of thinking, because as far as I know, every president that I've ever read about, every president that has been president while I've been alive, all of them had to make adjustments to how they had to do things because of new information that they received. A lot of presidents had to change their perspective because after meeting with somebody, they understood that some things weren't the way they thought they were. And that is a well-rounded president, someone that can make adjustments um, based on what other people tell him that he or she should or should not do, and is willing to be open-minded and willing to consider changing or at least adjusting how they're going to do something. And Donald Trump does not come across that way. And that makes me wonder that if he was about to do something foolish, or he's about to do something that would cause danger to the government or to the United States in some way, because he wasn't willing to take the advice, then that worries me. Which goes along with that he is not diplomatic in any way. He has no or very little diplomatic skills, and he's, as far as being disrespectful to people and belittling people, that's a very important quality in a president, to be able to be diplomatic, and he is not diplomatic. He has lied about opponents during the primaries, and especially now. And you say, well, everyone's lied. What's the big deal about each other? The big deal is, I don't know if he has done this the most, but just from observation, it seems to me that he has lied the most about other opponents. He has lied or misspoke or left out facts or added in things or exaggerated things about people that were not true. Not to say that he has not said things that were true. Not to say that some of his criticisms weren't, that they deemed merit. And some of the stuff he talked about was important. But for the most part, either he deliberately didn't do fact checks and was relying on false information and thought he was smart enough to remember everything and to know everything, or he blatantly lied, or had a combination of both. And the other thing, the irony of all that, is the ones that some of the candidates that he went the hardest on were the ones that at one point gave money for their presidential campaign or other political offices before they ran for president. And the one he's harping on the most, the one he has to work against the hardest, is the one at one point he endorsed and at one time gave a lot of money to, donated a lot of money to her campaign when she was first running for president. And so I find it ironic and interesting that he has to recant all those nice things he said about Mrs. Clinton and how wonderful she was as Secretary of State and how wonderful she is as a person, and he has to recant all that in order to counter the attacks that she has against him. And so it's just interesting, the turn of events that has come about from him being involved in politics on one end, and now he's on the other end and has to deal with the consequences of what he thought was a good investment. So now we're to his rude and vulgar and deplorable and sexist and whatever else you want to call it, behavior towards women. The things he said, the things that he allegedly said and did. It's too bad it took a presidential election for some of the things to come out. Now there's, as always, a lot of these or some of these things turn out to be either false or exaggerated or somewhere in between those things, but for Donald Trump, I wouldn't be surprised if all of those allegations were true. So anyways, there's that. But because of a certain president and other presidents that shall remain nameless, that type of behavior with women is minimized. It's not deemed as something that we should really worry about as long as he does his job. And I disagree. I disagree with that assessment. I think that's highly distracting, and I also think it's disrespectful to the office that you hold. I also think it's disrespectful to the people that you don't have respect for women, or it shows that you have a there shows some evidence that you are a womanizer and you have little or no respect for women, and that proves to be problematic, and that proves to be something that can deter you from making correct decisions based on equality, based on things that has to do with anything that has to do with gender, or it can skew your ability to make good moral, good logical decisions, because you're thinking about other things and you're not looking at women as humans, but you're looking at them as sex objects or something to conquer. So yeah, that could be detrimental to your decision, to the president's decision making. That's my opinion, though. Believe it or not, that is not the worst of it, though that alone is bad. It's really bad. Really, really bad. And in fact, it's horrible. It's deplorable. But we'll have to move on to things to substantiate more of why Donald Trump should be disqualified. He lied about failing. Why would that be important? Well, if you cannot admit to lying, if you can't admit to failure, how are you going to improve upon your failures? You're going to make mistakes as president. I don't care what position you have. I don't care how good of a person you are. You're going to make mistakes. But if you're not able to admit that you made a mistake, then there's no way to improve improve upon that mistake and learn from it, and to change your perspective, and to change how you handle things. There's no way to improve yourself and to make your presidency better. There's no way to improve on it, at least on certain aspects. It makes it very difficult, if not impossible. It makes it very difficult. So this is where he failed at. He failed, and you could see on any interview, he denies ever failing, and he never says he's failed at anything, which makes him possibly a sociopath, or at best a narcissist. So we have failed at TV, he failed at casinos. There's at least three, he filed 3 bankruptcies on the casinos. There is a record of him filing for 4 bankruptcies. I don't know what the 4th one is for, but it does have to do with his business. Most possibly also the casinos again, or maybe even the university that does not exist anymore. Trump University does not exist, and he lied about it being accredited, so no one could graduate. And then they had to tweak some things and make it something else, and a lot of students lost $3,500 worth of tuition for a whole bunch of nothing. Let's see. He lied about thousands of people during 9/11. That he said thousands of people cheered after the towers collapsed. And there's no collaboration to that. There's no proof that that happened. Matter of fact, there's proof that there are people that cheered, but the numbers are much smaller, and there's not a lot of big groups, if you want to call them big, 20, 30, possibly 40, the things that were reported back to Mayor Giuliani. And there's no reports of not one person cheering where he was at in New Jersey. So this proves that he will lie to make a point. This will prove that he will lie to prove someone was right, or to prove someone was wrong or right, depending on how it's going to make him look. Back again in 2015, you gotta also remember, this is during a time that he was made it known that he was running for president, or he was at least taking a serious look at being president. He said at one time unemployment was at 42%. That's a lie. That the gross domestic product was below 0, and he said that it never went below 0. Those are 2 lies. One, during the time he retreated that, the gross domestic product was never at 0 at that time, and it has gone below 0 at least 42 times in history. This shows his lack of integrity and his inability to have thick skin, his instableness, that there are 3,500 lawsuits by or against him. There are 75 currently pending before and after the election. That could be a distraction. Most of them are tied to his business, and there are major lawsuits, and some of them are tied to his campaign and those who are involved with his campaign, and what he did there. Now, there is a long history of him stiffing payment to contractors or any other services that was done for him, that he either stiffed them or not give them the promised amount. I don't know if those are related to any of the lawsuits. I wouldn't doubt it if they were, but I will not speculate upon that. But that just shows that he cannot be trusted with what he says. He is for eminent domain, and there's proof of that because somehow he was able to use eminent domain to kick someone, even though he has nothing to do with government at the time. He used eminent domain to kick someone out of the house so they could bulldoze it over and turn it into a turned it into a limo garage. And he kicked someone out. And somehow he got the government to use eminent domain to kick this person out of the house, and it's been done before. It doesn't happen very often, but usually when a large company wants to build somewhere, they'll try to use the government to claim in whatever deals they make, underhanded, and whatever sleight of hand, smokes and mirrors, whatever they do to get the government involved, use the eminent domain to get people out of a house or houses or apartments or something so they can build malls, hotels, whatever it was. And of course, Bill Cosby, gosh, I'm so thinking about how horrible he is of a person that I switched to Bill Cosby. Anyways, that Donald Trump is for eminent domain and has not backed down from that. Again, another example of him not fact-checking. He retweeted a statistic of white on black murders and black on white crime. Well, I said crime, but it's mostly concentrated on murders. And he said it was 81% black, white on crime, black on white crime, murder, and white on black is only 11%, which is false according to the FBI. It is closer to 12 or 13% now. And here's an interesting one. Not only does he flip-flop on issues, but he denies ever having an opposite position. To name a few: immigration laws and policies, on pro-choice, Iraq, Libya, and universal health care. He was at one time a lighter on immigration laws and policies. Now is against it. And pro-choice. Now he was pro-life with Iraq. He disagrees that we should have gone. In Libya, he disagrees. He should have assassinated Gaddafi. And of course, universal health care, which is Obamacare, now is against it. All these things that he was for or against, he denies ever that he was consistent on those issues and that he never changed his position. And that's the difference. There have been many politicians change their positions and flip-flop, but at least they admitted that they held a different position. Donald Trump on 4, 5, 2 of them being being on foreign policy, the rest being on a combination, as far as immigration, a combination of federal law. Anyways, just very inconsistent and unwilling to admit that he was wrong. He has no grasp on foreign policy. He doesn't even know how sanctions work. He feels like he can just sanction sanction a country for whatever reason. He once said that Korea never paid us back for the help that we gave them fighting against North Korea. That's a lie. He once, at least one time, said that Kuwait never paid us back for helping us get their oil fields back. The ones that owned the oil originally and took it back from the Iraqi government. And he said that was a bad deal because we never got anything from it. That was also a lie. They got several $1 million for that. And I don't know if this was based on him again not having any fact checks, or if he just went straight out and lied, or had a combination of both. At one time he said we should bomb the heck out of terrorists and kill their families. He's went back on that and said he's never said that. That is total reckless in thought and in actions, having, once again, no grasp on foreign policy, not understanding the complexity of war, not understanding the complexity of how other countries will react, how the potential of gaining enemies and losing allies. There's a lot that's involved with bombing countries. There's a lot of thought that has to be taken into consideration, and it has to go before Congress. It has to go before the Senate. There's just things that has to be done, and he just blurts out stuff as if he's going to be king. And so that, my friend, is why I feel Obama should be disqualified as president. My opinion. If I missed anything, let me know. If I misspoke on something, let me know. If there's anything that you feel you disagree with, let me know. Or if there's anything that has been proven otherwise, let me know. I'm open to anything, to whatever it is that you feel is important. Let me know in the comments down below. I'll also leave a link of how to get a hold of me through email. And if you're familiar with how to get me on the DMs on YouTube or on Facebook, because because I'm going to release this on Facebook and also on Google Plus. All right, this is Love to Be Loved. It's always love to be loved. Be blessed, and bye. Okay, this is Love to Be Loved. It's always love to be loved. Hey, just one more thing. Just remember, my next video is who I'm going to vote for instead of Trump and instead of Hillary. And spoiler alert, it's not the other two either. It's another one. Surprise. Surprise candidate that's better than all four of them and has a lot more comprehensible and seems to have a lot more understanding of how government works. Anyways, yeah, I'll do the reveal of who I'm voting for the next video. Alright, this is Love to Be Loved. It's always love to be loved, and be blessed, and bye.